Welcome. I'm Steve Seymour with VRA Realty, and I'm the broker and owner. I've been in this business, building this business over the past decade, and I'm here with Dave Ashe. I'm extremely excited to have Dave here today because we're going to make an announcement of a big move and talk a little bit about that. But before I do, I just kind of wanted to preface it with this is really less about him making the move and more about why did he make the move, and also with that, what really matters most in making decisions. I found it really interesting timing that Dave came into our organization at a time where I was reading this book, which is called Gradually Then Suddenly, and it was a reflection of almost what happened on our end, where it talks about how to dream bigger, decide better, and leave a lasting legacy. And I just found that ironic, but I wanted to set the tone with that. It's a great book, by the way. So Dave, thank you for being here.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And Dave, I just want to, first of all, have everyone that's listening, I'm sure a lot of people listening know who you are and what your background is, but for anyone that does not, do you mind just sharing a little bit about how long have you been in real estate?
Yep. Where
did that originate? And a little bit of your career progression over the last 41 years.
Yeah. Okay. Well, basically, I was born and raised in King of Prussia, so I've always been in this area. My wife was also born and raised in King of Prussia. We went to high school and stuff together. And I started in real estate 1985, so it's 41 years this year. Is that 41? Yeah, that's 41 years.
I was born in 83, and I've been...
Whoa, stop. And so I started when I was 30, and I started with Roach Brothers, which became Prudential Fox Roach, which is now Berkshire Hathaway Fox Roach. I was with them for 27 years and was a manager of offices for them for about 19, 20 years. And the rest of the time I started as a salesperson. And then I left and went to Keller Williams 13 years ago. I was broker of record of Keller Williams for the last 12 years. And I am now with VRA, and I'm the broker of record here at VRA, and extremely excited to be here.
Yeah. Well, we are very happy. This is, again, with the title of the book, Gradually Then Suddenly, it was about, I guess, last Friday. Mm-hmm. I got the call from Dave, and he said, "Do you still want me?" Mm-hmm. And I said, "Absolutely," because we've been in conversation for a few months, just exploring to see if it's the right fit, not to jump into anything, and make sure that it was done intentionally. But probably two of the biggest moves in my entire 20 years in real estate happened in the same day. I locked up a huge deal that I'm buying, and got the news from you. So I was really excited about that. But
so you had a good day.
I had a great day, and it's a really big, while I'll say it's such a big deal, number one, it's not about, your experience and, all your knowledge and all that. Like, that's the obvious things. Mm-hmm. It's about who you are and really the reputation that you've built in this industry. I think we all can look at some people who have had massive success, and maybe they got there in ways that burnt bridges and, negotiated and beat people down and, were cutthroat. And then there's other people who really put people over profits.
Yep.
And that's what you look at in sustainability and long-term alignment of who you want to surround yourself with, because this business is still the people business.
Absolutely.
And if you want to take anything out of this message from two people, combined experience over 60 years in real estate, the short game, you win, you beat someone, great, but not in the long game.
No.
It can all be a win-win. There's enough business for everyone. There's collaboration over competition is how I would say that. And that really comes from an abundance mindset versus feeling like there's not enough, right? So I think that when Dave and I sat and talked, we had a lot of alignment and values in terms of not just building this business together, but what's more meaningful about it, and it's really having an impact on people. So Dave, with your, your background and being in the business so long, can you share any wisdom around that in terms of just how important that those interconnections are, especially in a local market of, really building a lasting business?
Well, it's interesting you said just said local market because I am a preacher for the last 40 years of telling agents that real estate is local. What is happening in Westchester, Pennsylvania is not the same thing real estate-wise that's happening in Amarillo, Texas. And it's all local. So if you listen to the national news and all that other stuff, it's telling you all the stuff about real estate, but you have to pare it down to the local. And to be honest with you, that's the one thing there's three things I always say to agents is real estate is local. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you listen twice as much as you speak. So keep your mouth shut and listen to not only your clients but your family, your kids, your grandkids, whatever it is, and listen, because if you listen, you'll hear what they're really saying. And so I always say you got two ears and 1 mouth. So listen twice as much as you speak. And the third thing, in real estate especially, is communication. Communication with your staff, communication with your cohorts in your office, and really communication with your co-op agents that you're doing transactions with, because they may or may not be in your office or your company, and you may have end up getting a strong agent on the other end that's kind of bullying you or pushing you around, and you just have to stop and say, you know what, hold on, let's get this transaction to the settlement table, and let's, don't call people other names and that kind of stuff. Let's just get to the settlement table for it. And at the end, when you do go to the settlement table and you are now all of a sudden building a relationship with that co-op agent, they may in 2 weeks call you and say, oh, Dave, I just showed your listing and I'm bringing you an offer. And all of a sudden now we're back into another transaction. So life is too short, way too short in real estate.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's so key. I know I struggle with the 2 ears and 1 mouth thing. And, sometimes I jump to the answers before I fully understand the question.
Yeah. You just have to kind of sit back and listen to what they're saying.
So that's very wise advice. Dave, when you made this decision, we've really only been talking for a few months now.
Yeah.
So in the grand scheme of things, that's actually a very fast decision.
Extremely fast.
And there were some other influences, but at the same time, it's not like you were in a position where you had to leave.
No.
This was not necessarily a financial decision.
No.
This was not necessarily a short-term decision that was made with a gut reaction, even though it was made in a short period of time. It was a long-term decision. And some people might say, Dave, you're 71. What are you talking about, a long-term decision here? But you and I talked about that, and it's not just about you, but it's also about the legacy and your team.
Right.
And not only that, the impact that you're able to have on our business.
Correct.
So do you mind sharing a little bit about just how that comes together in terms of your lens and the way you look at it when you came to us, to me to talk about joining forces? What were some of your decision factors and what was the draw for you?
Well, people don't know, but you and I met each other about, 10 years ago or whatever, 8 or 10 years ago. And haven't been in contact with each other. And you called me and said, can I buy you lunch?
Yeah.
And so we met for lunch. And to be honest with you, I haven't been recruited by anybody in years. Maybe they thought because I'm not a broker jumper, that I'm not going to leave an office, whatever. And when we sat down, you started talking and asking me what I was looking for. And basically, as you said, I'm 71 years old, been in the business 41 years. And so I'm trying to I have a team of five other agents that are on my team with me. And I think we ended up last year at 26 million in sales for the team. And they've been with me for 15 years, all of them. And so it's important to me that every one of them, when I talked to them individually, when I told them my decision was to come to VRA, actually one of them said to me, where are we going? And it was like, okay, where are we going? He didn't even question. He didn't even know where we were where I was going. I just told him that I was leaving, and he said, "Where are we going?" And so it's more of I'm trying to set up my team so that they can continue and I can continue. I could retire today. Financially, I'm fine to retire today. Don't ask my wife that because she has a whole nother different situation in her mind that we don't have money to retire, but we do. I don't want to. I love what I do. I love watching the young new agents help them grow, help them get into the business and really thrive in the business. A lot of them are, I had 3 boys, and a lot of them are I always say my 4th and 5th son, because I work real closely with them. So when we met, we were talking, gave me your vision of me to come in and be the broker of record. I was listening twice as much as I spoke. And at the end, I just said, I remember at the end of the lunch, you turned to me and said, "I have one more question." And I said, "What?" And you said, "Do I have a shot?" And I said, "Yes, you have a shot." And that's what happens. And that's exactly what happened. It was right before Christmas, I think. But it was wham, bam. It was way to go.
Yeah.
And for me to call you last Friday because I had spoken with my supervisor at Keller Williams, and I told her what I was planning on doing, and she was graceful and said, let's think about this for a couple weeks, and let's try and work this out, type of thing. And we did, but then I met with her last Friday, and it was okay. I'm resigning. I'm out. I'm leaving. Very amicable. Couldn't have been faster. And I got out of that meeting. And I called Steve and I said, "Steve, so do you still want me?" And he said, "Of course I do. Why?" And I said, "Because I just resigned." And he said, "Get over here."
It was the call.
It was the call. And we didn't, I was anticipating it not to be until April.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
so
it was
things moved
boom.
a little faster.
Yep.
And I'm sure anyone that knows you locally in the market, a lot more people know you than me because you've been in the business much longer and ran a much larger office than what we have. They might be thinking, "Dave, like, why did you do that? That looks like a not necessarily even a lateral move, but a backwards move from going from broker of record to from 370 agents to about 110."
Right.
And for anyone that's listening, why I'll kind of preface this, and I want you to answer it, but this is what I gathered was, other than what you talked about with setting up the team. In terms of the vision of the brokerage, it's quite different from what's out there.
Yes.
Right? There's other opportunities that you could easily go into, even if it wasn't the right fit at your previous company. And I'll just share the vision of the company, which is to empower human potential by providing a pathway to financial freedom through real estate investing. And what I had shared with Dave at our lunch that I think was impactful, that really where he was thinking, I want my son to learn this, right? That those types of thoughts where I want to get together with my son because I want him to know this, right? And what came out of that conversation was really about, not that what I'm doing or what we're doing at VRA Realty is so incredibly unique, but there is a major gap between the traditional brokerage world that teaches you to sell houses and be a great agent, and nothing wrong with that, and then the real estate investor world, where they really teach you how to build assets in real estate, which, guess what? You already happen to be in that business. You already happen to be finding, deals, finding, financing, getting it to the closing table. So you're already doing everything that it takes to become a real estate investor,
right,
but not necessarily for yourself. And the strategies that we teach and we encourage, and the group of people that are actually doing that at our office, is a very powerful thing. So I think when you and I and your son met, it kind of helped click because you saw his excitement with it. And even though that's not where you're at this point, that you want to do it, but I think that the value's there.
Yep.
And to connect the dots between that traditional brokerage world, where there's still a ton of opportunity to build an amazing career, and with the investing side to create long-term generational wealth.
Right.
So did you see a piece of that was meaningful to you when thinking like, I want to also have my son be a part of this
Absolutely.
and grow? I mean, I think that was part of the deciding factor.
Yeah,
for you.
and not only that, I think you're selling yourself short. You're a brilliant numbers guy and know what you're doing. You know what you're doing on the investment side, and you're struggling on the brokerage side because that's not your
It's not my
forte.
passion.
Yeah, it's not your passion.
Yeah.
It's my passion.
Yeah.
So the fact that you have your
But I know it's so valuable.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
It's
to grow, not only grow.
It's not one or the other.
Right.
Right.
It's not one or the other. I can grow as a real estate agent, and then all of a sudden watch you and the other agents in our office here starting to invest and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden the light bulb goes off and say, well, I could do that too. And so the opportunity here for the future is so, in my mind, is so exciting. And my middle son, Kevin, who's a full-time police officer but a part-time real estate agent for the last couple of years with me, is going to. I mean, he got really, really excited because he listens to podcasts.
Yeah,
he does all that
I
stuff.
could tell he's
And
up, he's really up on a lot of the strategies, and now it's like surrounding yourself with someone that's doing it.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
And the implementation.
Yeah,
of that.
and so I think that's the real estate market is changing, and brokerages that are not changing with what is going on in the real estate market are going to be left behind. And I just saw an opportunity when you and I first talked of me coming in and helping you doing what I'm passionate about, which is real estate brokerage, and watching you and teaching my son for both ways of listing and selling houses, but also investing and that kind of stuff. I just saw it as a huge future for myself and my son.
Yeah, and I'm genuinely honored that you're even made this move. It's such a big thing for me. And what I'm most excited about is not just the move, but like you said, the potential of what this can become.
Oh, absolutely.
The possibility. Yeah. I know my one of my mentors, he started out as an agent, actually as a contractor, and then an agent, became a high producing agent, and then really went full force on the investing and built a huge portfolio. But he always jokes with me and he says, how many agent retirement parties have you been to? And I think about that. I'm like, all right, I've been in this business 20 years. I've never had an agent invite me to the retirement party.
Right.
And I still see agents, running out on a Sunday, putting a sign out in the rain. And not that there's anything wrong with that. And if you love what you do, it's great to stay active.
Right.
My point with it is that if you don't want to do that at the end of your career, if you just bought a few houses a year over a long period of time, you'd have a substantial amount of wealth. And that's something that you don't need to be the exception.
Right.
That's for everyone.
Right.
Every agent could do that. So one of the things that for me, when I got in this business, I actually met with some of the major offices around here, and they said statistically 8 out of 10 agents will never sell a house, and they'll let their license lapse. And I think last year the stat was, all the houses were sold by 1/3 of the entire real estate agent population.
And that hasn't changed
So
over
that's a
year
supply
after
and
year.
demand issue. And you think about that logically, well, this business looks very appealing, but very few people will earn their way to wealth in this.
Correct.
Right? It's going to be that top 1%, maybe the top 3% that's very diligent with savings. They can earn their way to wealth.
Right.
But because you're in the real estate business and it's such a great investment vehicle, I think those percentages can change where many people can create wealth with just, the masses can actually, everyone has the ability to buy a property. And once you can buy one, you can buy two. And once you can buy two, you can buy five, and it compounds. So that power of compounding wealth, I know, it was labeled as the eighth wonder of the world, but compounding interest is so powerful.
Absolutely.
And we have the advantage of that. So I don't want to go off on the investing side, because that's obviously I'll take it on a tangent. So for any listeners, if they were like, Dave, what was the number one reason, other than what we talked about, that actually made you make that decision quickly? Because, we talked about short-term versus long-term decisions, and I know you said there was like a light bulb moment, but what was that for you when you said, you know what, let's do this?
I think the light bulb moment, to be totally honest with you, was, like you said, and I've said, I'm proud of it. I'm 71 years old, and I'm not going to retire. but I am going to slow down when I want to slow down. But I don't foresee myself doing that for the next 5 to 10 years. And I think what it said to me is, I don't know that I want to stay and just do what I'm been doing for the last 10, 15 years and just go and go out into the sunset. When you open my eyes and you open my son's eyes as to what the investment part could be, I was excited because you asked me to come and run the brokerage. And my son was so excited to talk to you about the investment as well. And I thought, man, what a great opportunity. Yeah. And we're changing. VRA is changing with the real estate market where other brokerages are not. The fact that it's local. It's owned by you and it's local. The second thing is not franchised, so you don't have as many costs and that kind of stuff for the agents, which is enticing to them. That's what got me excited.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a really important point, was something that we both agreed on, was having people in the office is so key. And I know you've been that person that a lot of people have gravitated towards because of your knowledge and experience. And there's something that cannot be replaced with Zooms.
Right.
You know, in-person interactions. Exactly. It's not just the relationship, but it's the motivation, it's the collaboration, it's the idea exchange, it's all of it combined.
Yep.
And having, it's just seeing someone show up day in and day out, knowing that, you know what, you have to treat this like a job. It's not a hobby. You have to treat it like a business and take it serious if you want it to be a business and produce serious income. So anyone that, what we found, has gone to the fully virtual models, they don't have that, and they feel like they're on an island. So they have all the trainings in the world available to them at their fingertips, but they don't attend any of them. Right. And what we want to do is maintain that. I don't want to say old school. We have everything online, so you could run your brokerage completely remote.
Sure.
But we have that in-person culture and the collaboration between the agents.
Yeah, and I think that's going to change too with me, because I told you that I'm an office guy. I'm usually here 8:30 to 4, in and out, obviously, out of the office on a daily basis for appointments. But that's what I do.
Yeah.
And I think if I bring that back here to VRA, it will draw more agents to come through and be here and know that I'm here if they have a question. There's a lot of the big brokers that have a broker record for all of Pennsylvania in one location, and it's all virtual, as you said, and phone calls. We're here. We're local. We're in the office. And I'm going to start encouraging our agents here to come into the office more often.
And I've seen a consistent theme in talking with many agents. The number one thing they ask for is leads. The second thing is support.
Help.
You know, and it's really, if you get the right support, the leads will come.
Absolutely.
Because you know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
It took a decade to build the business to where it is now, and I didn't go full force on it because it was really. I know this might sound bad, but this was an accidental business for me.
Yep.
I got the broker's license with the intention just to do my own deals and teaching real estate investment courses through a real estate investment association.
Right.
I had agents that wanted to learn the strategies that I was doing.
Yeah.
So that was the initial, core of the VRA, agent population, and it expanded into a lot of retail agents and sold approximately 900 homes last year. But so it took us a decade to get to here. And I'm super excited to see. I think this is going to be a hockey stick curve in terms of the compounding growth that we're going to have in this market. So if anyone's listening and you know Dave and you want to reach out, you have questions about why he moved, you could reach out to him. You could reach out to me. But we are super excited. We just mainly wanted to clarify for anyone if they're like, why did this happen?
Yeah, and it happened quickly.
So Dave doesn't need to explain it 50 times. Now he can send you a video and say, this is the true story. This is what happened. This is how it came together, and that's where we were, and this is where we are now. And the goal really in terms of where we're going to take it is take really what we've known, like what Dave knows on the brokerage side and what I know on the investing side, marry them together and have the biggest possible impact we can on the most amount of people.
Right. And look at those agents that are in this office now, or the future agents that may join us, what the opportunities are for them. They can come in right away, and if they're not interested in investing, they get me, they get my expertise and my knowledge and my time, because I'm here all the time and I'm here to help them grow.
Well, that's amazing.
And then all of a sudden they'll come in the office and start hearing what your side is doing. And we're here to marry the two sides is basically what, you're running the investment side, I'm running the brokerage side, and we're here to invest or to merge it with our agents. Access.
And if you think about this, right, Dave's been in the business 40 plus years. I've been in about 20 now, and I'm genuinely excited, and Dave's genuinely excited.
Oh, I am
you're
really
in the right
excited.
seat. You know you're in the right seat when you've been doing something that long and you're still excited about it.
Yep.
And we just want to help whoever's interested. And if there's alignment, our core values are integrity, just doing what you say. Simple as that. Authenticity, just be real and honest. None of the BS. Cut the BS and just be open and honest about things. Contribution, coming of a place of service to make a difference for other people. The collaboration, which I mentioned multiple times, and the way I define it is just an open exchange of experience and knowledge. Right? You have a ton of experience and knowledge. Why not be open about that? That's a lot of value. And growth, which is personal, professional development. So if those values align with you, if you like the vision of the brokerage, if you have alignment with Dave, we want to invite you to join us and be part of what we're growing here. And
absolutely,
if we can help you, we're here.
Yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled to be here and very excited as to what the next couple of years is going to bring us.
Me too. So thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Yep. Welcome, partner.